Hello and welcome. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. It's a beautiful evening here, and I don't know about you, but I'd quite like to be out walking in the woods or sitting in the hot tub. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time, and I promise you that it will be worth you being here. I also intend to finish on or before 8 o'clock because I get bored if people waffle. So, and I used to teach teenagers, so you can't waffle with them. So welcome. Before we get started, so that you can make the most of your time here because you are showing up for yourself, the very best thing you can do, if possible, is to carve out space around you. So that means letting go of any distractions, switching off as many notifications as you can, making sure the dog's happy, and begging for time out from your kids if you have children. So, and also if you've got pen and paper, that would be really helpful. It's really helpful sometimes just to keep your focus, but also if you get some aha moments, which I'm really hoping you will, then you want to write those down. So you don't need to take lots of notes, but it can be helpful. But if you get a bit where you go, yeah, I want to keep that, then having pen and paper is really helpful. If you have downloaded the workbook, great. If you haven't, don't worry, I've got you, it's fine. So welcome. Is there anything else I want to say? Right, some people like using the chat, some don't. I don't expect you to use the chat if you don't want to. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat. If you want to ask a question anonymously, which is absolutely fine, put it in the Q&A, because the Q&A button at the bottom doesn't bring your name up, and that's okay. If you can't hear me, or if anything goes wrong, then you can raise a hand or put it in the chat and let me know. But it's really lovely to have you all here. Thank you for being here. So let's do this. Right, got some slides for you. Just going to put me down there a moment. Okay, so welcome. This is part one, as you know, of a 3-part workshop. And today I really want to get straight in with getting you feeling better, so that before the end of this workshop, you feel less stressed and that you can see a way forward that works for you. That's my aim. So maybe you feel like this. Maybe you feel like you're stuck in a tunnel and somebody keeps adding extensions to your tunnel. Does this resonate? So very often when we're very driven, we set up our own business or we go for a career change or a promotion, we work so hard and we get used to sacrificing and shutting other distractions out so we can get stuff done, so we can reach those goals. But then what can happen is we can accidentally get stuck in a tunnel. And it's not like we choose the tunnel, right? We think it's temporary. We think the tunnel's temporary, I can see light at the end of it, and when I reach that goal, or when I move house, or when this happens, when some future event happens, then things will be better in some way. And then what happens is, the reason that you're here now is that the tunnel isn't ending. It's like some joke, you know, you were promised a sense of freedom and ease and more choice in your life if you worked really hard, and yet you're not getting that. So there is, although you might still be able to see light at the end of the tunnel, it's either it feels like you're not really getting there, or you're just too damn exhausted to get there and you want out of the damn tunnel. And that's what I'm all about. Let's get rid of the tunnel, because it's no way to live, right? But you still want to achieve your goals. So just see if this resonates. You feel completely overwhelmed, not all of the time, and you're still most of the time managing to focus enough to get stuff done, because you're really successful. You have a lot of responsibility, so you are getting stuff done. But in general, you're becoming more and more overwhelmed, and you don't like that feeling. Who does? It's a horrid feeling. You're also exhausted but can't switch off. So this is the chronic stress state that we put ourselves into. We just keep pushing and we're getting more and more tired, but because we think it's a temporary thing, we're just in that tunnel for a temporary, you know, just keep going, it'll all be all right soon. We get stuck in the high state alert. And that is chronic stress is really, really bad for every system in your body. And we need to do something about it, because the symptoms that you're starting to feel, the exhaustion and not being able to switch off, the overwhelmed brain, the brain fog, the interrupted sleep, when your mind wakes you up in the middle of the night with these nagging loops of doom, this is stress and it's not good for you. And you know that, and that's why you're here. And then things like getting snappy with your dog, impatient with your partner, and starting to ask, what's wrong with me? Because this isn't the person I used to be. And where's the fun bit gone? Where's the person who knew how to switch off and have fun? When do I get to actually live this life I'm working so damn hard for? So if that's you, you are so in the right place, so in the right place. And I want you to know this, you are not alone. It's not just you. I've been through it. My clients, my students and Get Your Life Back have been through it. This is what I specialize in. This is who this workshop is for. This is who my podcast is for. I am passionate about this. Those of us who are highly conscientious and have big dreams and don't want to let anyone down, we easily get into this state without realizing, because we're copers. We're the go-to person to get stuff done. So it's not just you. Welcome to my world. I'm passionate about helping you sort out your life so you can love it without compromising your goals and without sacrificing your health and relationships. So you are in the right place. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. So did you do the quiz? So there was a quiz attached. I don't know where it was attached. Anyway, it's in part 1 of the booklet if you've got it. If you haven't, don't worry, because I'm going to do it with you now. So if you've already done it, that's really, really good. But the quiz says yes, no, yes, no. And what I want you to do tonight is really think about, how true does this feel for me in this moment? So grab your pen and paper and just go, do take it seriously, but don't overanalyze. Just kind of go with, how does this feel? So we're really starting to get out of the head into the body here and notice what comes up for you. So the first question was, have you had enough of secretly struggling to cope with work stress? So if you're a secret struggler, like I was, nobody really knows, because you don't want to lose it in front of clients or colleagues, because you pride yourself on being the person who copes. You don't like to let people down. So you're hiding the stress, and you're hiding it really, really well. And my favorite thing to do is help people get their life back, get it all under control without anybody really knowing, because all my methods are very small, but with big impact. So it doesn't overload you. And also you can secretly sort yourself out in private. And then eventually people go, you seem different. Have you had a nice holiday? Because isn't that a wonderful way to do it? I mean, the people close to you will notice, and your dogs will notice, and your partner and your kids and your family and your close people will notice. They will go, oh my God, I'm so glad that you're doing this to help yourself, because I was worried about you. But they might not be telling you that now, because if you're really good at coping and secretly struggling, I bet nobody really knows. My partner was with me, obviously, when I went through all of my stress, but he knew I was stressed, but he didn't know, and I didn't know for a long time how bad it was. So when you're that good at hiding it, it's quite different. There are people who will happily offload their stress at work or happily get signed off sick. I was rubbish at that. Looking back, I think, well, that would have been sensible, but I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want to lose the position of respect and responsibility I'd worked so damn hard for. I wasn't going to lose that. So if that's you, you're in the right place. But I'm going to ask that question again. Have you had enough of that? And by that, I don't mean, do you long to like break down at work? I just mean, should we sort this out? You know, how important is it? I mean, obviously you're here, so I'm assuming it's fairly important, but you know, how important is it to you? So if you were going to do like a scale of 1 to 10, 10 would be, yes, let's sort this out. And 1 would be, yeah, I'm worried that something might happen in the future. Just see what's coming up for you. Don't worry, it's not right or wrong. Just go with your gut feeling. The second one, do you feel like coping with work pressures is taking all your time and energy at the expense of the other parts of your life? Do you feel that coping with work pressures is taking all your time and energy at the expense of all the other parts of your life? How much does that resonate with you? tonight in this moment? Because nothing's ever the same, is it? It's not a linear path to crashing and burning. It's not a linear path to success. We get round in circles. Sometimes things get better. Sometimes we think we can cope. In fact, we are coping. We're just doing a lot of damage. Next one, do you increasingly push away inconvenient tears? Now, this is a tricky one to answer, because we assume usually that I'm talking to women, and I'm not. I'm talking to men as well, because I have men I've spoken to who are like, well, I've had to pull over on the side of the road because I was just crying with stress. And yet nobody knows. Like, they're still holding together businesses. And the women that I work with at the moment would tell you, you know, even on a one-to-one would be like, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. I'm not, oh, why am I crying? Which is really interesting. So inconvenient tears are the tears that are, they're stress, because tears are the body's, one of the body's ways of, one of the functions of tears is to reduce stress. Stress comes out in the tears. But it's inconvenient if they're coming suddenly, like this eruption. It's like, where did that come from? I don't cry, and I'm certainly not going to cry in a meeting at work or in front of a client. Like, how embarrassing is that? So be honest. Is this starting to happen? Have you noticed it, or have you been in that pattern before? How much is this happening for you right now? And if you want to share anything in the chat, please do. If you don't, please don't. Do you long to be able to switch off and have fun, as well as kick ass on your work goals? Now, obviously that's a loaded question, because I want you here, because that's what I specialize in. But honestly, because that question might feel like, yeah, well, of course I do, Heidi, but I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe that's possible. I don't believe that I can maintain my ability to kick ass at work if I'm really, really good at switching off and having fun, because the two things seem to clash. And I just don't know how to switch off anymore. Or the other one, it's having to use alcohol to switch off and then really regretting it because it wipes out the next day and you don't have enough time for that. And the next one was, are you fed up of feeling exhausted and hearing yourself complain to friends and family? So that exhaustion can become quite chronic quite quickly. And the tendency is to push ourselves through it, to problem solve it. What's wrong with me? I shouldn't be this tired. I ought to be better at sleeping. If I did more exercise, I'd have more energy. Well, when you get into a chronic exhaustion state, actually, often the exercise just doesn't help. So it's not always very solvable. And if you're also not pausing in the day and tasting your food and different things like that, then the exhaustion can really creep up on you and appear in really strange ways, like strange aches and pains or little niggles in the body where things suddenly don't seem to work so well, like your body's letting you down, whereas actually you're letting your body down. And this complaining to friends and family, I still remember this night when, oh, I just offloaded all of it. I just really would wish I hadn't, because I've misjudged the relationship and it wasn't close enough friends to do that with. And I'm still like, why did that happen? But I was just so stressed. And I thought these were people, I thought I was in a safe environment to do that. And I still regret it, because it just, I'm not that person. I'm not the person who offloads all the time. I'm just not. And I didn't like that. I didn't recognize myself. It's just not a nice feeling. And this is quite common with people I work with. They'll go, I am sick of listening to myself. I come home and it's like, oh my God, I just spent 2 hours moaning. What happened to the fun person? Where's she gone? Where's he gone? It's horrible. It's horrible. So be honest with yourself. Is that starting to happen to you? Do you feel stuck and frustrated because you have dreams which require even more work or business success, but you can't see how you'll ever make them happen because you can't cope with this level of success? So this is a big one, because you might have reached a stage where you're like, maybe I should just play small. Maybe if I went to live in a camper van and worked in a cafe, you know, just like offloaded all my stress and responsibility. Maybe I'm aiming too high. Maybe I want too much. But actually it's not true. because you not only don't want to lose anything you've worked hard for now, but you want more. You want more. But how are you going to get there? Because, you know, what's got you to this level of success has worked until now it's not working. So how can you have more? And if you can't have more, that's rubbish, because you really want more. And that's a horrible place to be, a horrible, horrible place to be. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. I'm going to leave the last 3 questions because you've got them in your booklet, but that's just to get you thinking for yourself. So just take a moment from all those questions and what I've mentioned so far. How strongly do you feel? How much trouble do you feel you're in? How important is this to you? And I'm guessing it's pretty important because you're here, and I'm really, really glad that you are here. You are in exactly the right place. So what do you want instead? What do you want instead of waking up in the morning and finding that your mind has already planned out a very stressful day for you before you've even really woken up? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? So be really honest here, be really daring. At the moment, you might be like, actually, I don't want to wake up in the morning, I want to sleep for a year. And that's okay. You can put that. But when you've had your catch-up sleep for a year, how do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? Write it down. Because I know for me, I want to wake up feeling really good. I want to wake up knowing that even if I haven't slept well, because maybe I watched a film late at night and messed up my sleep a bit, or got excited about a film, that happens to me, that I can still, look, the day's not wrecked, that I'm not going to have uncontrollable emotional outbursts or inconvenient tears, or not be able to work properly or think properly, or, you know, not feel quite right. But mainly I want to wake up having slept really well, and I want to kind of stretch and go, oh, this is so nice. I love my life. I feel great. I'm so looking forward to today. I feel good. I want to wake up happy. What do you want? And then imagine going through your day feeling like not only can you cope, but you can be yourself. You can kick ass on your goals with utter self-kindness, with utter listening to what you need, what your body needs, what will make you happy. Imagine that you go through your day being completely aware of what you need. And so like when you're tired, you can go through your day in a gentler way. And when you're like, yes, I'm had loads of sleep, I feel really good, and I really, really want to meet this goal today, you can just like really focus, and your body feels good. It doesn't feel exhausted. It doesn't have aches and pains. You're not constantly getting sore throats and feeling unwell. Imagine that. Imagine just for a moment. So how do you want to go through your day? How do you want to feel as you move through your day? How much focus do you want? How much clarity? How much energy? How much ease? Go for it. And lastly, imagine going to sleep at the end of the day and you're able to let go of your day. In fact, before that, you've already let go of your working day because you finish at a good time for you. And as you close the laptop at home or leave the office or wherever, you leave work there. And as you leave work, you literally leave work behind because everything's tidied up and you know that you can't do any more. And you have a way of controlling your attention, of letting go of any buildup of stress in the day in your body. And you have plans for the evening, plans to hang out with those you love, plans to do some fun exercise or whatever you want to do, plans to cook a really nice meal and actually taste it. Plans to go home and play with your dog and make up for the years of being grumpy. You have plans. You have an evening, and it's not filled with either work or thinking about work. Can you imagine that? Please just imagine it. Even if you can't quite believe me, just give it a go. And it's quite funny because in my program Get Your Life Back last week or the week before, I can't remember what we were talking about. They're at the point where they're planning, they're creating a life that works for you. So they're in the plan module, the final module, and I can't remember what I was saying. I think I was saying, but imagine that you could have everything you wanted. Imagine if you could set up your business in this way that it worked and you didn't have to burn out. Just imagine, go with the imagining first. And which she is doing really well. But it was really funny because spontaneously this person went, well, 10 weeks ago I'd never have believed I could feel this good. I'd have called it bullshit. So I didn't think she would say that word, but it was really funny because we can move our beliefs, we can shift them. It is possible for you. How do I know? Because I've done it. People I work with have done it. It's possible. It takes commitment and you have to really want it, which is why I'm asking you, how badly do you not want what you've got? And how badly do you want a life that works for you instead, where you just feel like you feel at home in your life rather than trying to squish yourself into a life that just doesn't work? Maybe you want some of these things. So if you're stuck, this is just some of the things that people have said they want and I have helped them create for themselves and they're still creating. The words that really sum it up for me that I love are a sense of empowered ease. And by that I mean, because the problem with the word ease is people think, well, if life was too easy, I'd be bored or I wouldn't get anything done. We're not talking about, well, we are partly talking about easy, but an energized easy. So ease, that feeling of being at home in yourself, like you're in the right place at the right time and stuff's flowing. You can get into a state of flow and really enjoy satisfying work. And then you can switch off and have fun. You can focus when you need to. You feel at home in yourself. You really like yourself. You've stopped telling yourself you need to be better, that you're not good enough. Empowered ease. So empowered ease is like one up or several up levels of ease, where empowered ease is this: I know what I want, I'm still that driven person, but I find a way that works for me, which will include joy, ease and fun. So empowered ease, I really, really like that. It's a very felt sense in the body. It's a very grounded. See how that feels for you. My aim is that you get some sense of this tonight in some work we're going to be doing. So I want to introduce you to something that I call neutral noticing, which is exactly as it says. It's noticing completely neutrally what's going on for you. And it came about by kind of accident, and then I thought it needs a snazzy name, and I don't have a snazzy name. So it's neutral noticing. It does what it says on the tin. You notice completely neutrally. Now, this is something that came out of my training with a Zen master. I retrained as a Zen yoga teacher, which is not like normal yoga. And I also did a lot of Zen practice. So I combine this, I pull all of this plus evidence-based psychology into my work. And neutral noticing is this, it comes from this Zen premise that curiosity trumps judgment. And all through the day, if you were to monitor your thoughts, you would find that a lot of your thoughts are judgmental of yourself mainly. I mean, we judge each other. You'll have judged me already. You know, we judge each other. That's just normal. That's a cognitive shortcut. But judging yourself is really not great, because then you're always found wanting. And then it's like, now you've got a whole self-improvement list. I call it your get better at list, which is hidden and it weighs really heavily, right? And it's really overwhelming. And when you start doing neutral noticing, you start to uncover these hidden judgments. And there was one client I was working with last year, Kelly Hines, who I interviewed on my podcast, actually. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. Check it out. She's an amazing woman, entrepreneur, love her. And she said one of the biggest things for her was learning to drop the judgment, to drop the shoulds and the oughts. And she still uses neutral noticing. So some of you may have got hold of the 1 minute mark, which is my free audio of neutral noticing. So literally in 1 minute, getting out of overwhelm, out of the head, into the body, and noticing completely neutrally how you feel. It's incredibly powerful. It feeds into all of my work. So all of my tiny, huge, life-changing practices, they'll have some degree of this. Tiny moments in your day to change your life. Is there anything else I wanted to say about that? So I mean, I'm going to teach it to you in a bit, so stay with me, because I'm passionate that you have this tool in your toolbox. It is not a stress relief tool. I don't teach stress relief. I'm not interested, because if I gave you stress relief techniques, you'd use them to patch yourself up and work even harder. So if you've come for stress relief techniques, or you're thinking I'm going to tell you to work less hard, no, that's not what I do. I'm just not interested. I want you to be able to work out for yourself with support how to create a life that works for you, rather than working your ass off for a life that you don't get to enjoy. So neutral noticing, I just want to introduce you to that, and then I'm going to talk a bit more about it. It is a mindfulness meditation practice, but it's very rooted in the body. And the reason for that is, for myself, I'm the type of person who I can easily get stuck in my head. You know, I eat information for breakfast. I love reading. I love gathering information, and I can very, very easily get stuck in my head. So for me, getting out of my head, taking my attention down to my feet is very powerful. When I started teaching this, other people going, wow, all my stress just went. And I started to notice this. So I now use it all the time because it's so powerful. But I will tell you more about it as we go along. But first I want to introduce myself. So who am I? Why would you listen to me? Unless somebody you know sent you here. So Heidi Marke. I'm a mentor and a teacher. I'm a very experienced teacher of mathematics and psychology, actually, and also of Zen yoga. So I'm a very qualified teacher and mentor. I'm the host of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. Please check it out. Loads of free resources on there for you to listen in your own time, and creator of the program Get Your Life Back, which does what it says on the tin, helps you get your life back. It's a skills-based, very supportive online program, which I'm passionate about. And what I've done is I've combined evidence-based psychology, that's my degree, with Zen philosophy and practice, because that for me is what was missing. I also studied positive psychology, which is the new psychology of thriving, rather than just studying what evil people do or experimenting on poor monkeys. So it's that positive psychology is great, but it still wasn't enough for me. I needed something more, and I found that by studying with a Zen master. So I've got quite a unique skill set, and I work with both employed people and entrepreneurs, and I haven't been able to split that, because to me it's not entrepreneurs or employees, it's the people who are secretly struggling, the people who have big dreams, don't want to let anyone down, but are secretly struggling, and they want a way to get their life back without anybody noticing, because that's who I was, right? So we teach from our journey, and I managed to not only get my life back, but build a thriving, growing business on that basis. So I actually set my business up that I had to walk my walk, that this time I wasn't going to burn out. I wasn't going to do that, work really hard until the business is successful. No, it had to, from the beginning, be based around how I wanted my life to be. And I've struggled at times not to overwork, because I still have that tendency, but I refuse to, because I built that into my business, and I refuse to teach anything that I don't do myself. So if I can do it, you can do it, because as anybody who knows me, if I've got a goal I want to achieve, I'll go all out for it and damage my health and relationships. You know, I've got that single-mindedness I'm sure you have, but I've turned it around, and I've turned it around in a powerful way, and that's what I want to share with you. So before the end of this workshop, so it's not just going to be at 8 o'clock, it's going to be for that. What I want for you, my intention is that you feel better, that you feel seen and heard and understood, that you feel that you're not alone, there's nothing wrong with you, because there is nothing wrong with you, and that you can see a brighter future for yourself, and that you have a tool that you can practice every day until the next workshop, which will literally start to change your life. Let's do this. So apparently cows do this. Apparently this is quite common, which I don't understand how they do it. And it's a nightmare for the farmer to get them off the gate. Anyway, is this how you feel? So you are stuck. You can't go back, because if you went backwards, you'd be giving up some of the things you've worked really hard for. So you don't really want to quit your business. You don't really want to not take a promotion or downsize at work, because the knock-on effect means that will affect your finances, maybe the home you live in, your relationships, all of it. You don't really want to go backwards. You've worked too damn hard. So giving up's not an option for you, because you're just not a quitter. It's just not who you are. It just feels wrong. But you also might sometimes think, well, if I aimed lower, so I used to think, well, maybe if I quit my job and went off to live in a camper van, you know, if I just wanted less, I would be less stressed. But I don't believe that's true. I just don't believe that's true. If you're a highly driven person who wants a really full life, if you try downsizing everything and downsizing your dreams, you will feel just as squashed, but in a different way, as the squash you feel now, trying to squish yourself into a life that doesn't work for you, because neither of those lives work for you. The stressed, overwhelmed, push, push, bash, 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 versus the downsize, pretend I don't really want things, like they're not your life. So you're stuck. You can't go backwards, and you can't really keep going forwards, because you know that you're heading for burnout. You know that if you keep going, you could end up actually in the same thing as downsizing, that you could lose your business, lose your career. I lost my career, and I knew all of the stuff. I have a psychology degree. I practice mindfulness and meditation and yoga. Still blew it all up. Didn't see that one coming. Tried really hard to prevent it. Wrong way of doing it. And I'm grateful for that now, because that makes me really good at this, and that brings you to me and me to you. So, but I don't want that for you. Maybe you've burnt out already. You don't want to go there again. You know that. So it's miserable, right? Being stuck. And it's also damaging, because the longer you stay stuck, the less effective you are at work or in your business, the more you're damaging your health, and the more you damage your relationships. Even if you can't see that damage yet, I guarantee you, you do not want to stay stuck. My son wrote me a Facebook post last year to support one of my launches, and I just cried. He said he cried when he was writing it. He said that when I was really stressed, I wasn't nice to be around. I just moaned all the time, and I just wasn't fun. I just wasn't the mother he knew. And I thought I was coping. I thought I was riding high. You know, at work, I was getting promoted. No. Why should the people who love us the most have to put up with us at our worst? I don't know what that is. I expected those around me to just go, well, of course she's stressed. She has a stressful job. But why? Why is that okay? So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And not only are you stuck right now, but you haven't finished. You've got tons of dreams you want. This is no place to be. No place at all. So this is the problem. I'd like you to list all the things you need to do, all the things that you think you need to be better at. So this is the problem. We're getting deeper into the problem here. You work really hard to solve the problem of yourself. You think that if only I was a better partner, a better dog owner, a better colleague, a better business person, more organized, fitter, better at sleeping, ate a better diet, was better at exercising, better. If you sit down now and list all your betters that you're probably unaware of, there's part of your problem. Because by believing there's something fundamentally wrong with you, if only I was better, then everything would be okay. So it's my fault. There's something wrong with me. I ought, should. There's all the judgment. Judge, judge, judge. And that weighs heavily. It weighs heavily in the body, and it's heavy to carry around, and it's wrong, because there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing at all. You're just going about some stuff in the wrong way, and we can sort that out. Another list I'd like you to consider making, and you might want to consider this, these questions will keep coming back. So I would write down what are all the things I think I should be better at, and then the other one is, what are all the things I'm waiting for? We very much, these are the end of the tunnel ones. So when this happens, then everything will be amazing. I'm here to tell you there is no ease at the end of your to-do list, because as soon as that big goal is reached, you'll go, what's next? And you won't even pause to celebrate, because you love achieving goals. But that just means you just put the extension on your tunnel, and waiting all the time, waiting for the next thing to then be happy, to relax, to reconnect with those we love, to get fitter, to take some time off, to rest, to sleep properly. That's no way to live. So your life isn't okay for you because you're postponing it, postponing. So we need to do something about that. So there's 2 lists there for you to play with between now and the next workshop. Really, really worth looking at. So instead of changing the what, so the what is the things on the previous slide, the what is things about you or things about your external circumstance. So instead of changing the what, we need to change the how. What do I mean by that? Well, one second. So instead of, trying to quit your dreams or change your job or sell up or play small or getting better at something, better, crazy overworking nonsense, trying to be someone else, instead of that, we want to go for happiness. And you're, oh, but Heidi, happiness is fluffy. I will be happy when. No, you won't. No. And there's interesting research on this, which I can't quote because I haven't read it for ages, but the research shows that happiness comes before success. So happy people are more successful, not the other way around. And yet, what are we told from a young age? Work really hard so that you will be successful, so that you can be happy. And it is wrong. It is so, so wrong. And it's so sad and so unnecessary and such a waste. And that might be one of your aha moments. I hope so. Success does not come before happiness. It's the other way around, and it's backed up by research. And anyway, you can choose to be happy now. So why not choose to be happy now, and then even more happy when you're successful? Happy. Happiness matters. You're healthier, you're less stressed. And now you're going to go, but Heidi, how can I get happy? By changing the how, not the what. So drop the what. The what is in your judgment box, your endless to do, your endless get better at list. Drop that. So how do we change the how? With neutral noticing. Ta-da! With neutral noticing in just 1 minute. I mean, you have to do the 1 minute repetitively. It's not going to change your life in 1 minute. It's a skill, it's a practice, and it's a commitment. You have to decide, I want to change how I'm moving through my life because I want to create a life that works for me, and this isn't working. And you have to be so damn certain that this isn't working. In fact, the misery helps because you've had enough. If you're not that miserable, you can carry on for years. But if you've had enough, you're actually in a good place because you're like, that's it, I've had enough, show me. So neutral noticing changes the how without you having to try to achieve that. And while you're practicing, it's reducing your stress and overwhelm. It's genius. If I could have invented this from that position, I'd have gone, how do I do this? But I didn't. It happened. It happened through my experience, through teaching, and then it came together, and then people were saying, I feel amazing. And I was thinking, so do I. And then I examined it, and this is what's going on. It's amazing. I absolutely love it, as you can see, because I'm getting a little bit excited here. And I'm going to show you how to do this. And you are going to practice every day between now and the next workshop because it's worth it. So Albert Einstein apparently said, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it, which means we need to change the level of consciousness we're dealing with the problem. So when you see yourself as a problem, that's the problem. If you turn that around, you are not the problem. Then we can solve the problem of the stress and overwhelm and the feeling squished in your life. We are going to do much more of this in workshop 2 on Tuesday night, habits and beliefs. We are going to switch around your perspectives. We are going to change how you're looking at things so you get the freedom that you need to start taking back control of your life. Hang on, I'm just going to go back a sec before I show you that. I just want to talk about where these, I mean, most of this is for Tuesday, but I do just want to mention this belief about sacrificing for success, because it's so common, right? We just think, well, to have what I want, I have to sacrifice and then I'll be happy and it will be worth it. Is this ringing a bell? So I think it starts really young, but one example would be, for example, doing A levels or going to college, and people say, yeah, you shouldn't go to the pub, you should revise. And I used to say that as a teacher, and yes, it's worth it, right? Because if you want those results or you want whatever you want, then yes, it requires discipline. But the problem is it feels a bit like sacrificing the pub for revision then leads to sacrificing your health to reach your goals. Because when we're really focused on a goal, what do we sacrifice? Movement, rest, play, nourishing food that we actually taste, connection with others, sleep. You know, we actually sacrifice our lives in order to achieve our life. So something really screwy is going on. Anyway, I'll leave you with that to think about, because we are coming back to that on Tuesday. But basically, what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be, because the habits of success that enabled you to build the success you have right now are the very habits that are creating the stress problem, the lack of enjoyment. Because you've got stuck, that tunnel is about sacrifice. It's that single-minded focus which enables us to achieve highly at cost temporarily, becomes a habit, because we do it a lot, because we're told just get your GCSEs, or in my case A levels, degree, you know, or promotion. Or if you're doing a business, well, businesses are crazy, aren't they, to set up on your own? We become our worst boss ever. We just don't switch off. So that's where it's coming from. And what we do is we stop listening to the body. We're told not to listen to the body, actually. Don't fidget. You shouldn't be hungry now. No, you can't go to the toilet. Don't nap. But actually, there's guidance there for us, which is one of the things that neutral noticing does. Now, I'm just going to show you, because you might not believe me. I'm just going to get a drink of water and let you have a read of that. I just wanted to show you some of the things some of my current students inside Get Your Life Back are saying at the moment, or have said previously, because you might not believe me, it might sound a bit too amazing. I mean, this isn't a magic pill. You have to do the work, as in you have to do your 1-minute audio. And people have said to me, I haven't got time. I'm like, if you haven't got 1 minute, I can't help you. So you might see if this sounds like you, that being highly driven and wanting everything, and then being stuck with no way out. This is the tunnel. This is the stuck between the rock and the hard place. You know, not liking to ask for help, liking to stay in control. But look what happened. She's got a good work-life balance, and she managed to get a puppy. And she now believes that these skills, neutral noticing, should be taught in school, which is really interesting. This testimonial is anonymous. The reason it's anonymous is that I provide a safe and private space for people to sort their life out, and not everybody wants to broadcast the fact that they felt really, really stressed and now they've got sorted out. You know, it's private, right? And I respect that. hugely, because I would have been the same. So I know there's some garden designers with us tonight. So Anna Senko is garden designer. She's been doing Get Your Life Back, and yeah, amazing woman. She's just done it and it's worked, and she's an amazing woman, and she feels great, and it's just such a joy. And this is way before she finished the course as well, which is really good. Yeah, there's just one more for you. You might relate to this if you find that you're a bit grumpy with your partner. I'll just let you have a quick read. Okay. And now I'm going to get you straight into neutral noticing. So we're setting you up for success before Tuesday. I'm just going to tell you the story of how it came about. So a few years ago, I tried desperately to set up my business and have an elegant exit from a very, very successful teaching career. And it didn't work, my elegant exit. So I crashed and burned. And I remember my last head of department saying to me, well, what are you going to do? Because a lot of people inside education can't imagine doing anything else. Whereas I was only in education for 9 years, so I didn't have that. I was like, well, masses of things, you know. And I remember saying something which, looking back, I think was a bit, I don't know, seems a bit pious now. I said something like, well, I'm going to do an hour of meditation, an hour of yoga every morning. Because I thought that was the problem. I thought if I had time to sit on a cushion for an hour at 6 o'clock every morning and then do an hour of yoga, I would be fine. I genuinely thought that. I was completely wrong. So that's why neutral noticing. Because it didn't work for me, the things I thought I was ought to do, the things I'd learned. So I rebelled against the Zen master. With huge respect. Excuse me. So what happened is that first dark January morning, when everybody else went back to school, I rolled out of bed, rolled out my yoga mat and lay on my mat. And I was utterly, utterly exhausted. And for the first time in a long time, I listened completely neutrally and without judgment. I got back into bed. And I remember sharing that with another yoga teacher, and she just looked at me with utter horror. Well, that's terrible, Heidi. You ought to be practicing 2 hours a day as a yoga teacher. I said, no, I don't think you quite heard me. I listened and I got back into bed and I slept because I had destroyed my health, and that's what I needed to do. And that took seconds, and those seconds changed my life. And I listened more and more and more, and I learnt to drop the judgment and just get curious. So I'd wrecked my health, and I've been trying to fix my health. I'm a real fixer of health. I geeked out on diet, exercise, everything. God, the information I could, you know, I'd hacked everything possible. And some of it had helped, but a lot of it hadn't. And when I stopped treating myself as a problem, when I started listening to my body as the old friend it is, with utter respect, that's when I got better. That's when I got my life back. And that's what I do every single day. That's how I move through my day, with an awareness of what my body needs. And I have, at 53, I have more energy and I'm fitter than I can ever remember being. So that's where neutral noticing started to come from. And then what happened is, for a while, I taught some yoga classes, and people started saying to me, wow, I feel amazing. All my overwhelm goes within minutes of being here. So I noticed, and that's what I honed in on. And that's where it comes from. And then I developed it more and more and more. And then I started making audios because people found my voice soothing, and make audios, make audios. And I had this 4-minute neutral noticing practice. And I gave it to somebody some of you will know, Paula Borman, multi-entrepreneur, amazing woman. And this is like a year and a half ago in lockdown, and she phones me, she says, I love the audio, but it's too long. I said, well, it's 4 minutes. No, but the kids are at home because they shut the schools, didn't they? I said, how long do you need it to be? She said 1 minute. And that's where the 1 minute mark comes from, because 4 minutes was too long. And that's how determined I am to make the smallest thing the easiest way to combine this in a way that supports you. Because you do not need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and sit on a cushion. You can if you want, but that's not what I teach, because I know what it's like to be so overwhelmed and so exhausted that you cannot do anything more. However good it is and whatever a solution it might be, you cannot do more. You need to do less. And what I love about neutral noticing is you can do it in 1 minute and you can fit it into your life. And you don't have to do anything. You can't do it wrong because you're not trying to achieve anything, and it will reverse the habits that have got you here, the not listening to your body, the judging yourself constantly. It will help to reset your nervous system without any effort from you. You don't even have to try. It will happen or not. The point is, the whole of neutral noticing is to stop trying. So who wants to try? Should we do it? I'm going to come out of the slides and then I can see you. Well, I can't see you. Oh, what have I done now? I'm going to try and come out of the slides. Stop share. Oh, Heidi, what have you done? Uh-oh. Right, let's go to share. Share. Stop share. Thank you. Right, hello. Right, let's do this. So we have exactly the right amount of time to do this. So I'm going to send you, I'll send it to you. You can, if you don't like it, you won't do it, will you? I'm going to send you the 1 minute mark in an email tomorrow morning so that you can practice this. But I'm going to teach you a longer version now so you can notice what's going on and you get used to it. And I'm going to talk you through it. But when you get the 1 minute, you only have to do 1 minute and you literally just have to listen. It's so easy for you to do. So I'm going to invite you. You don't need to be, this is really important. You do not need to sit in the cushion. You do not need to sit up straight. You don't need to do anything. Just get comfy, like literally, don't worry about it. Now, the words of the 1 minute mark in this particular neutral noticing practice say, feel your feet on the ground. Now, if you're lying down, your feet aren't on the ground, but you can still feel your feet. So you have to sometimes adjust the wording, because I'm aware that some people are lying down, some people will stand and some people will sit, and that's okay. And you can do it walking as well. So just knowing that when I say feel your feet on the ground, just take your attention to your feet wherever they are, and that's okay. You don't need to move. Stay where you are. You're fine as you are. Now, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. You wouldn't do this driving anyway. If you're walking, obviously your eyes would be open. And if it's not appropriate for you to close your eyes, you don't have to. And this is the point. This is you taking back control and making this work for you. Now, I'm inviting you to close your eyes because it's easier to do with your eyes closed, because as soon as we close our eyes, we block out about 90% of distractions. And because this is teaching you lots of things without you even realizing it. But one of the things is it teaches you to control your attention, which is why it helps with overwhelm and focus. And so when we're learning something, we want to make it easy. So close your eyes if it's safe and appropriate to do so. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And I want you to send all of your attention down to your feet. Feel your feet on the ground. Get really curious about the physical sensations of your feet just for a moment. Feel your feet on the ground. And then take your awareness to your belly. And see if your belly wants to soften. So feel your feet on the ground. Allow your belly to soften if it wants to. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Just notice, softening belly or not, just notice how you feel, how you feel completely neutrally in this moment. So you're going to notice that your mind is going to hijack your attention, and that's normal. That's going to happen. You have a human mind and it is easily overwhelmed and is easily distracted. That's normal. So each time you realize your mind has hijacked your attention, or external distractions, whatever has hijacked your attention, you might get judgment. I can't do this. I'm rubbish at this. This doesn't work. Notice that too, completely neutrally. And then feel your feet on the ground. Allow your belly to soften or not. Allow your shoulders to move away from your ears if they want to. And if they don't, that's okay. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to achieve anything. Don't even try to relax. Just notice completely neutrally how you feel in this moment. Feet on the ground, softening belly or not. Shoulders moving away from your ears or not. And just notice. Notice how you feel, and however you feel is however you feel, and that's okay. So you can notice the busyness of your mind or not. You can notice judgments coming from your mind. You can notice the loops of doom, the shopping lists, all of it. And then you can return your attention to the body. And each time you pull your attention into your body, you are changing the habit of ignoring your body, which leads to the exhaustion and the ill health. And you can also bring your attention to the heart, which helps with purpose and connection. So there's lots here, but all I want you to do is be able to go to your feet and your belly, maybe the shoulders, because we usually carry a lot of stress there, so it's just nice, or not. Notice when your mind has hijacked your attention or external distraction, and as soon as you realize, that's the key. As soon as you realize, you send your attention back to your feet over and over again, knowing that each time you do that, you get better at controlling your attention. And each time you notice that your noticing isn't neutral, you change those habits of pushing against yourself, criticizing yourself, thinking there's something wrong with you. But you don't need to know that the 1 minute mark will do all this for you, because it doesn't matter. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's not something you try. That's the whole point. It's the opposite of what you do all day. You try hard and work hard all day. And for 1 minute, you get a break from the overwhelm. You get a break from trying to achieve anything. And that reverses the habits that got you here. Yes, it takes time, but it's 1 minute. And 1 minute might be all you can squeeze into your life at the moment. And that's okay, because that 1 minute is powerful when you commit to it. So feel your feet on the ground. Allow your belly to soften or not. Allow your shoulders to move away from your ears or not. And notice completely neutrally how you feel in this moment. And however you feel is however you feel. And that's okay. Don't try to achieve anything. Don't try to change anything. Just notice. That's all in the audio I'm going to send you. Now, if you go to the page with the quiz, or you get your notepad out now. So this says, I commit. And this is where I want you to put the following. I want you to commit to. Now, you have to listen carefully, because those of you who are like, but I don't like to fail, bear with me. If I said to you, do that 1 minute audio every day, so that'd be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days until you see me again, you'd go, yes, and then you'd forget. I've tried this, I've tested this. But if I say to you, do the 1 minute mark on the hour every hour, you will do it at least once or twice a day. But that only works if you're prepared to forgive yourself for not doing it on the hour every hour. Can you see? It's just there to structure it. Other things we can do to help you is, if you are using the Facebook group, I'm not great with Facebook groups, because everybody, you're busy, right? You don't want to be on Facebook. But if you find it supportive to be on Facebook, I will be in there. So if you come in and say, I'm struggling, or I did it 3 times today, then, you know, we will be in there supporting you. So there is that support for you. Basically, I want you to commit. I want you to write this down. I commit to doing the 1 minute mark on the hour, every hour between now and the next workshop. And I want you to notice how it is for you. Now, it's really important that you don't try to achieve anything. So you're not trying to de-stress. You're not trying to relax. All you're doing is noticing neutrally. Neutral noticing. Are you going to do it? If anybody wants to say yes in the chat, that's great. If you don't, that's also great. But please commit to yourself to do this because it works. And I want you to experience it. Thanks, Kate. I want you to experience it for yourself. And having that strict time limit and doing it together, even though you're not really together, and knowing that you're going to see me again on Tuesday, that gives you a deadline. And I know it's a bank holiday. That's okay. You can still do it. You don't have to do it every hour, but you commit to doing it on the hour every hour because it's easier than saying I'll do it at 3 and then you forget. Can you see? I will send it through tomorrow morning. Write it down. I commit. Okay. I hope this has been valuable to you. Everybody's still with me, which is really, really lovely. Thank you so much for being here. It is such a privilege to have you here. This is my work. This is my passion. And to have you here means a lot. Thank you. I will either see you in the Facebook group if that's your thing, or I will see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, where we're going to delve into habits and beliefs. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to be here for a bit. If anybody's got any questions, you're very welcome to stay. Otherwise, have an unexpectedly lovely bank holiday weekend after getting through work tomorrow. And I will see you on Tuesday at 7 o'clock.